it must be really, really tempting for showrunners out there to grab IPs that are amazing, edgy, different, and refreshing, and spend a lot of money of it and stick it onto Netflix or Amazon for that matter. What I really wish they would spend a bit more time on is looking for IPs that have actually finished their stories. Now, Game of Thrones is a very good example of how many people were burnt, myself included, with an absolutely appalling ending. And while the showrunners themselves can't be completely and exclusively to blame, in this case, the author hasn't even finished the book, so he hasn't even written the next book since Game of Thrones finished. Either way, Martin has a lot of explaining to do as to why he's writing prequels before he's even finished the main story. But, we all know what happened with Game of Thrones. So a similar thing seems to have happened with the Umbrella Academy. Now, I initially thought that the ending of season 4 was actually the ending of what My Chemical Romance, I think the guy's name is, that one actually, has written these stories, wanted. But what he actually said was he thought it was an adequate ending, or he thought it was an apt ending for the show, the series on Netflix. So, what is the series on Netflix? So, of course, this is season 4. Season 1 was a wonderful ride for myself because I know nothing about the comics. I'm quite tempted to go read them now, though, especially after season 4. But season 1 was really fun. They have this Hargraves family of degenerates who hate each other, these siblings who've all got superpowers for nefarious reasons. And season 1 was great. Season 2 was even better, I thought. They took away this kind of dark tone and replaced it with a lot more vibrance and light and a lot more fun. Characters like Klaus, for example, were just incredible to watch. Absolute eye candy and really, really fun storylines, even though the story in season 2 is kind of similar to season 1. Season 3 comes along, and interestingly, season 3, which is basically called Hotel Oblivion, that is the graphic novel, and it follows that quite closely. It doesn't have the Sparrow Academy in it, though. That is a fourth novel that has not even been written yet, that is coming up. However, in the Netflix series, you do see the Sparrow. So there's a lot of mishmashing of the potential stories that the original authors have. So the original authors were involved in season 4, much like Martin was involved in even the last few seasons, but as a producer only. And you can see that they have not written this. So it's one thing saying as an author, you guys can use the IP up until now, get your closure, it's fine. But when you're watching it and you're going, why is the plot so shit? You can realize very easy that maybe if you're a very good showrunner, like Steve Blackman is, a really good showrunner, he's maybe not the best writer. And season 4 really does show that. So the biggest gripes that I've seen online right now are the storylines of well, for example, you've got Klaus, who has no role really in this season. He has maybe half an hour screen time, which is a very big difference from the other shows. Then you've got Five and Lila. They have, this got some spoilers in this, I'm sorry, but I have to sort of talk about it, mentioning these things, otherwise they're real evidence. But they have an entire romance, which makes sense because they are trapped in an alternate sort of subway, which is between universes, and they can't get out for 7 years. Then suddenly they can. I'm still not quite sure how Five found a scrapbook that explained how to get out, but he does. Really, really, really bad writing in this season. But the fact that Leela and Five are made to have a romance in the first place kind of stands in stark contrast to the entire 3 seasons before. And Blackman has actually stated that the reason he made this, or the reason he wrote it like this, is because he wanted to see Five, who's played by an 18-year-old actor, and he's amazing. All the actors in the show, even the 4th season, are incredible. But he says that the character is a 64-year-old man trapped in the body of an 18-year-old, and we haven't really seen any romance other than a mannequin, which I thought was fine because the guy's mental. Leave it at that. He doesn't need to have a relationship with the wife of one of his adopted siblings, which is what he does in season 4, and it's messy. It's quite sweet at first, but the way that it's dealt with at the end is messy because there should have been 2 episodes with the sort of consequences of banging your brother's wife because you're trapped in an alternate dimension. But this has just moved over, quick, gone. The ending, and again, this is a spoiler, so run away, is not the greatest. I do not have a problem with heroes dying. I actually thought the last James Bond was very good because he died. It gave more clout and weight to the decisions and actions. In this, they all die because if they don't cease to be, the fractured universe will carry on being fractured and get worse and worse and worse. And there's a lot of contrived thinking that went into how this happened, and I'm not sure how close that is to the actual story. I don't think it's very close to the story from what I've read from My Chemical Romance, as in the core story. So yeah, season 4 really was all over the place. They also missed out on one of the things I loved in all of this series, seasons 1, 2, and 3, is the family montage dance. Usually taking place in the first or second episode. They have been a wondrous thing to watch. It's so much fun. You can see the actors are having a blast with this, and they didn't do it in this. While you do have one, for example, who is no longer an ape because at the end of season 3 they get sort of shoveled into another alternate universe where they lose their powers. He is a stripper, and so he has a lot of fun in this season. Keep saying series. England is watching over me. This season, one is basically the comic relief. Once again, he is not used really to his character. Again, this comes down to writing. Season 3, he was quite formidable. You felt like he had some actual plot role and not just being there for the comic relief. So they kind of mess up with him in season 4. And quite a few of the other characters they do mess up with as well. So quite disappointed. I could see why it's sitting on just below 60% at the moment. I would really, really, really love to know the mechanics behind getting this season written, because season 3 wasn't as well received as 1 and 2. Season 4 is only 6 episodes. All the others have been 10. And that is why a lot of the writing has not been able to grow. Why the writing looks like it's shoehorned. And a lot of it, the pacing seems desperate, and which is true to the story, but it also seems very, very crammed and very rushed. That's the best way of describing season 4. It's a very rushed season, and you can feel it. They have some great sound beats in it. Not as much music as the first 3 seasons. I wonder again, is this down to budget? Did Netflix say, here's some money for you? You can only make 6 episodes? Because I know Netflix are really leaning into the no longer doing 10 episodes, like Daredevil's 15 at one stage, or 18, I forget. But they want shorter seasons. The episodes are longer, to be fair. They're about an hour long to an hour and 10 minutes. I think last episode was an hour and 15. But again, it just feels rushed. Ideas pop up. They're focused on those particular ideas. There's 2 episodes out of the 6 that are basically side quests. They have nothing to do with the main storyline. Now, when you have 10 episodes, you can do that. When you have 6, you can't. You can't go off on errands that have no meaning to the show. So yeah, kind of sad about this. It's not an audience thing, as one of my friends pointed out. He said, "Oh well, maybe they've changed the audience." No, it's got nothing to do with the audience. It's got to do with external influences like COVID, which interfered with a lot of the pacing of getting season 3 into 4 done quickly. It had a lot to do with the writers' strike, because that was a big thing before this. And yeah, a lot of the actors were ready to move on. This is a show that's been going for quite a few years now. So yeah, a bit disappointed. If you haven't seen season 4 and you enjoyed season 3, maybe leave it there. I can't believe I'm saying that. Yeah, I would rather have left it there. It leaves quite a sour taste in one's mouth. So yeah, for me, this is a sort of 6 out of 10, which is shocking compared to the last ones. Anyway, catch you guys later.